My placement occurred in a 7th grade Texas history class at Scott Middle School. The content within history class that I now have experience teaching includes the Civil War and Reconstruction era up to World War I. During this time, I learned many things, not only as a teacher, but a learner as well. Throughout this semester, I learned what the structure of an effective teacher looks like in regards to teaching with diversity, good communication skills, complexity, and technology.
Post-Civil War, right, and what happened immediately after the war. So this chapter's on Western Frontier.
Different learning styles, languages, socioeconomic statuses, cultures, and backgrounds are all some of the things I was introduced to, not only in class discussions, but through teaching as well. One thing I saw in everyone was growth during my semester with them. I have learned that an effective teacher isn't someone that shares information about the Civil War and wants good testing results, but rather a teacher that can truly impact the wide diversity of children in their classroom. One thing that I would like to learn is how an effective teacher teaches an integrated class of extremely fast-paced, exceptional learners and special education students. My CT talked to me a little bit about the integration in one of his other classes, but he never really elaborated on how he taught it. I learned firsthand the importance of good communication just minutes before being observed by Dr. Dean during my placement. The CT and I were on 2 separate pages with the in-class project the students were to be working on for the day. The lack of detailed communication between us led to the lack of detailed communication between the students and I when I presented them with the task. My lack of communication created a lack of confidence for them. However, I was able to use communication to build positive relationships with some of the students during my semester. For example, one kid really liked to play cards in his free time, and I would encourage him to complete his work with this knowledge. I would also add that he could show me a new trick since he had quite a few tricks up his sleeve. My communication with the student built a solid relationship between us. One thing I would like to learn more about and work on as a teacher is how to develop this kind of communication with each student. I think once the personal level of communication is developed, it paves way to good communication within the learning material. Teaching for deeper learning was easily my biggest weakness through my first semester of actual teaching. I lacked the critical questions when I was the one teaching the class. Rather than asking critical questions, I would ask recapping questions. Through this, I learned that what I should have done was ask my recap questions to get the students warmed up and then my critical thinking questions to hit the home run and get the brains thinking. I think something that will greatly impact me in this section of teaching is the UBD lesson plan model. It will require me to generate these critical thinking questions beforehand. As I continue on my teaching career and experience, I plan to prepare more for my lessons I teach than I did this semester. This will also allow me time to develop the best version of my lesson for the students. In doing so, I will be able to find the places where I need to insert the whys, whats, and hows to spark critical thinking. I noticed this year I didn't know when to ask my critical thinking questions. Over the course of the semester, I have also learned much about the role of technology in education. I see it as an importance to integrate technology into the classroom for students to grasp the ISTE standards and understand how technology works. When these students graduate and get jobs, they will more than likely come across paths with technology, so it's in their benefit to teach them about it early on. Through our technology projects, I learned about several technology tools that I previously had no experience with. Throughout each device, the common themes appeared to be the ease of communication and increase in student interaction. I plan to use technology apps like Pear Deck or Nearpod to integrate into my lessons to ensure that my classroom has more student involvement. I learned quite a bit about teaching this semester, different perspectives, methods, and styles. One thing that helped me was the book Love and Logic, which introduced to me taking the weight off of the teacher and putting it on the student to make them better learners and individuals in general. I also learned my strengths and weaknesses as a teacher this semester. Some of my strengths include being consistent and knowledgeable about the material. My 2 biggest weaknesses include lack of critical questions and talking too fast when I'm teaching. Overall, I learned a lot this semester in Education 351, and I plan to take Education 475 in the spring of 2020 and then participate in the master's program shortly after that.